to change the world and bring America back to greatness.
Experience the greatest celebration of America. 4 days, thousands of patriots, the loudest voices, the strongest leaders. Featuring Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, Steve Bannon, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Grant Cardone, Rob Schneider, Matt Walsh, Michael Knowles, Glenn Beck, Riley Gaines, Todd Chrisley, Savannah Chrisley, and more. December 18th to 21st in Phoenix, Arizona. The movement meets here. You won't want to miss this. Register now at amfest.com.
At Turning Point USA, we say that chapters change the world. We are Americans, and we are going to win.
Do you want to change the country?
We are Turning Point USA's National Field Program.
And we're hiring.
Are you looking for a challenging career?
Something you can grow with in an ever-changing world?
Look, this isn't just a job. It's a journey of development with the mentorship to guide you through.
Join an organization where your warrior spirit isn't just welcomed, it's essential.
The one thing we can promise you is that this is a career that will never get boring. Just ask our biggest fans.
So what does the field program do?
We are recruiting the next generation of American conservative leaders.
We give high school and college students the necessary resources to start successful chapters.
We are the boots on the ground, doing the hard work no one else will attempt.
Whether that's deep in the South or all the way in California.
We plan to host thousands of chapter events across the nation.
Many of our staff in leadership positions were former chapter leaders and alumni of Turning Point USA.
We mentor passionate young conservatives who love their country.
Join us.
Late to bed, early to rise.
Work like hell.
And organize.
We're active in about 15 campuses, and we're growing very, very quickly. And keep in mind, this is not just a flash in the pan movement. We're going to become an institution to give them the power and the confidence to stand up and let their voice be heard.
When I first started this, I was 18, no idea what I was doing, no connections, no money, unlimited energy, enthusiasm, and I actually thought this was possible, which was kind of crazy if you think about it. Only in America would an 18-year-old with no idea what he was doing, literally no idea, be able to walk the halls of the Republican National Convention, give out business cards to every human being that I made on a little topographical printer, say, we are losing our country, young people are the answer, we need to do more on college campuses. I want our Turning Point USA students to receive a round of applause. These are the freedom fighters of America. This is the greatest generational realignment since Woodstock. What they're doing is one of the hardest things to do in the United States of America. They are deciding to be less popular on campus. They are deciding to actually speak out with a high social cost. They're deciding, even though it might jeopardize their job, their career, or their reputation, to put their country over themselves.
I used to be a Bernie Sanders supporter. It was one of your videos that really woke me up, and you're an inspiration. Wow. You're awesome. Thank you.
You are why I do what I do. So which way are you leaning?
Can I get a hat?
That's a good answer. Be welcoming. Even if people have different viewpoints, be open. You guys on the front line, starting Turning Point USA high school chapters, starting Turning Point USA college chapters, you are on the front lines of saving this country. And you look around, our numbers are increasing. We are happier, we are joyful, we love the nation. College campuses should be a marketplace of ideas, where you can have debate and dialogue and discussion, where you can hear something that is different than the point of view that you're entering with. Every day you get to fight for what is good and what is true and beautiful. You are doing something that is bigger than you. Turning Point will live longer than me. That's my mission.
Good evening. Thank you for having me. My name is Lane Schomburger. I am the Chief Investment Officer and founding partner for a company called Y Refi. I'd just like to give a quick shout out right here. I mean, Charlie, right? Who doesn't love Charlie? Charlie. So, you know, I'm thrilled to be up here and underwrite this program and sponsor it. And why would we do such a thing? Well, Charlie found something in us, in Y-Refi. And what that is he found interest in you and how he wanted to help you get out of debt when you get out of college. And what we do at Y-Refi is we refinance private student loans that are in default. So Charlie took an interest in us, and we took an interest in Turning Point. We have a lot of the same ideals and principles and philosophies, values, and that's what we clicked, just like that. And it was amazing to be a part of what Turning Point is building and doing. So as an owner of a company, I've seen what he's built, and I'm just sitting here saying, wow, this guy has really got it. Charlie Kirk has really got this thing. September 10th, everything changed in a blink of an eye, just like that. And now we're all here celebrating Charlie, and we're building something. We're going to build this to the biggest thing it's ever been. Turning Point will become the biggest thing ever. And I'm glad to say, and I'm really proud to say, I am Charlie. You are Charlie. We are all Charlie. So thank you for being here. By the way, this is a beautiful campus, by the way. So before I go off the stage, I want to tell you, tonight you've got an amazing lineup of speakers. I'm hoping you guys have some real good dialogue and conversation with them. When you get out of school, I'm curious, let me ask you a few questions. I'm trying to see if I can see. How many of y'all have student loans? By raise of hands. A lot of you. How many of you know how much money you owe as of right now? Raise of hands. Not the majority. Okay, this is why Charlie found interest in what we do. I've heard him ask this question on campus. I've heard him ask this in debates and so forth. And it's just one of those things, guys. Pay very close attention to what you're doing when you're taking out these loans. Okay? Hopefully you'll never need my services. Right? Because if you do, you're probably in trouble. But if you do, know that we're here. Look us up at yrefi.com. It's letter Y, REFY.com. And the other side of our business and what I focus on really is raising capital for to do what we do. So if you're an accredited investor, maybe mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, someone that's looking to help us with our mission, check out investyrefi.com. Okay, please be a part of it. So all that being said, you're not here to see me. You're here to see Governor Youngkin. You're here to see Megyn Kelly. So I'm going to step off the stage after I say thank you very much again for your time this evening. Thank you for coming out and being here. I'm really looking forward to hearing some of these amazing questions and some of the debate and dialogue. So thank you very much. Have a good night.
Please welcome Governor Glenn Youngkin.
Unbelievable. Thank you. Thank you. Come on, Hokies. I thought we'd have Enter Sandman going. I can't thank you enough for the incredibly warm reception. All gathering together tonight to talk about a turning point. A turning point. You got a big night in front of you. By the way, Megyn Kelly's here. But I'm going to ask everybody here to stand up and give a rousing applause to the Turning Point team for pulling tonight off. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Unbelievable. All these volunteers down here, I want to thank you for your leadership, your service. Thank you. Amazing. Here we are. Here we are, my friends. We're here to reflect, but we're also here to go. And that's what tonight is all about. 2 weeks and a day ago. 2 weeks and a day ago, where were we? We were worried about lots of things, not what tonight was going to be like. To be candid, what I was worried about 2 weeks and a day ago was moving schedule around because Charlie had been incredibly gracious and invited me to come to Blacksburg and be part of this event. That's what I was worried about. I talked to Megyn Kelly yesterday, and she was working on her logistics as well. The team was working on how to pull this event off. I'm sure all of you were focused on school. It was a different time. It was a different moment. 2 weeks ago, it all changed. You see, early in the morning, on September the 10th, Charlie did his last podcast. He did a podcast. He had done them more frequently than any of us can possibly imagine. He had engaged in conversation all over the world. And that morning, he was engaging in another podcast. And that podcast would end up being his very last one. At the end of the podcast, the interviewer asked him one question. Hey, are there any phrases or sayings that you like to live your life by? And he said, well, there's two. The first is, this too shall pass. What a comment. This too shall pass. It's just a saying. It's a saying that when things are really good, be humble. And particularly when things are really bad, have faith. This too will pass. His second statement was really important that morning. He said 2 Corinthians 4:17. Romans 8, verse 28. Romans 8, verse 28. And we know that in all things God's work for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. I'm going to say that again. As we know that in all things God works for the good of those who loved him, who have been called according to his purpose. Called and according to his purpose. And this too shall pass. That morning, Charlie left us with a blueprint. That morning, he left us with guidelines to once again benefit from a man who spoke truth. He left us again with something to reflect on our own lives. And therefore tonight, we have an opportunity to reflect and we have an opportunity to go. I wish Charlie were here tonight. I wish we were engaging in that amazing moment where Charlie speaks truth. There is a dialogue, a respect, a recognition of the beauty of freedom of expression. And we will have that tonight. But I know we all wish Charlie was here. But see, the truth is that the question that has been asked over and over again is, who will be the next Charlie? And as I look out in this room and I see thousands of you, I want to repeat the best answer that I have heard. You will be the next Charlie. All of you. And that is something to take home tonight. Now, you will have a leader that's extraordinary. A leader that we have all come to know in a very different way than we knew her 2 weeks and a day ago. Over the course of the last 2 weeks, Kirk has demonstrated that she not only has the courage of a lion, but she has the heart of a saint. We have grieved with her and her family. We have prayed for her and her family. And we have stood together for her and her family. And tonight, we see that the next leader of Turning Point is the person who knew Charlie the very best. Someone who looked into his heart. And therefore, is there anyone better to lead Turning Point going forward than Erica Kirk? My friends, I think right now it's a moment to cheer for Erica Kirk. But you see, you can't put a light under a dirty old bucket. That's the way we sang that song in church with my kids. You can't put a light under a dirty old bucket. Charlie was a light. He was a light who literally believed in truth. And he shined his light in such an extraordinary way, a way that demonstrated respect, a way that demonstrated the basic, most important command that after love God with all your heart and all your soul and all your being, love one another as he loves us. That was the foundation of Charlie Kirk. But you see, given that all of you are the next Charlie Kirk, all of you therefore are light. Each one of you is the light. A light that shines in the corner of the room, a light that shines brightly on evil, a light that chases out darkness. That is each and every one of you. And I don't begin to know where each and every one of you may be in your own faith walk. And that's why tonight is so important. Because tonight is a moment for us to come together and, as I said, grieve, but also to go. Tonight is a moment for us to come together and reflect. And that's why I want to share with you a few thoughts around how to do that. First, I'm going to ask each and every one of you to examine yourself. Stare into the mirror and ask yourself some really basic questions. What do I believe? Do I believe that there is an almighty being, an all-powerful God? Do I believe that that God loved me so much that he sacrificed his only begotten son so I could be reconciled with him? What do I believe? This is not a moment of condemnation or challenge, it's a moment of question. Let me just be clear. My own faith walk is not one of a rocket ship. In fact, when I was sitting where all of you are sitting, I was not faithful. In fact, God fixed that for me. He put in my life one of, I think, the key tenets that Charlie constantly extolled all of you to understand, that the most important decision you will make in your life after accepting Christ as your Savior will be deciding who you marry. That's the most important decision after that. And boy, did he change my life, because he put Suzanne in my life, and I love Suzanne, and I wanted to marry Suzanne, and so I asked Suzanne to marry me, and she said yes, but. Now guys, let me just tell you, that is not the answer you want. Yes, but. But she said yes, but. And then she looked at me and grabbed my hands and she said, Jesus is really the center of my life. And therefore, he has to be in the center of our marriage. Promise me you'll do that. Now again, here's some coaching for the guys. When you're in that moment, let me just tell you what the answer is. Yes, that's the answer. But see, I wanted to get married. And so I looked at Suzanne and I said, absolutely yes. And little did I know that she was going to take me on a journey that would change my life in a way that I could never possibly imagine. Ever, ever. I remember the day when I actually truly accepted Christ. And I was in a new Christians class. Yes, you had to take that in order to join the church that we were joining. And I found myself in a moment where the Spirit descended on me and I could do nothing other than weep. And at that moment, I knew that there was so much more to this. And I was on a journey that I am still on today. A journey that opens up deeper pathways to God's love for us. So when I say examine yourself, look in the mirror, it's not a moment of judgment. It is a moment of opportunity. The second thing that I would challenge us all with is to engage. You see, one of the things that we all loved about Charlie Kirk is he not only spoke truth, but he challenged us. He challenged us to do more than sit on the sidelines. He challenged us to engage in thoughtful dialogue. Of course, recognizing we had to do it with respect, but to fully engage. Don't back down from your beliefs. Be prepared to debate them and discuss them, but engage. And then he would call us all to engage in the search for that person that will make you a better person when you enter into marriage. To engage in relationship and family. To engage in the things that we know make us better. But also to engage in our civic duties, our civic responsibilities. To understand what it means to jump in. To understand what it means to stand for the values and the principles that we hold dear in this great United States of America. Now I'm going to tell you a secret. Being governor of Virginia is really cool. It's awesome. And by the way, someone in this room, I hope, one day will feel a calling on your heart, and you will run for office, and you will run for office to serve. You will run for office to stand for the things that we believe. And I can't wait to hear the story of the one of you, or two of you, or 10 of you, or 100 of you that choose to do that. But I got to tell you, being governor is really awesome. You see, every morning I have an opportunity to think about what are we going to do today in order to make people's lives in Virginia better. Every day. It's unbelievable. Now, I start out every day with the clear recognition that it's impossible for me to discern what that is. It's impossible for me to execute against the plan. It's impossible for me to do that without asking for help. And so this journey that my amazing wife put me on, this journey that I found that there was so much more than just me, invited me into a relationship with the Lord that's unbelievable. And so now I have a chance every morning to wake up and bury myself in Scripture and then pray about the day. And I have to say I'm sometimes lazy, and I repeat the same prayer every morning. I think God's okay with that. I don't think He minds, because I'm doing what He asks us to do, which is come to Him. My favorite psalm is Psalm 121. You all should love this psalm because you have the appropriate geography. You see, it starts out with, I lift my eyes up to the hills. You get to do that every morning. where does my help come from? My help comes from the Lord, maker of heaven and earth. It's extraordinary. That's where it comes from. And so as we engage and we seek help, there will be help. There will be help. In Virginia, we sort of have a lot of this we carry around with us. You see, Virginia, for those of you that aren't from Virginia, I'm sorry, but America was made in Virginia. I mean, I was recently in South Carolina. It didn't go over so big. But you see, in this great Commonwealth of Virginia, so many of these basic principles were not just debated, but they were in fact inscribed on the founding documents of our nation, and then battles were held in order to win our liberty. Battles were held. Most powerful words, I believe, written in this hemisphere were written by a Virginian, Thomas Jefferson. He wrote it in the Declaration of Independence. We're going to celebrate this in the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence next year. I encourage everybody to start celebrating now because it's that big. But he wrote these words: "We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men, broadly defined as men and women, are created equal, and that we are endowed by our Creator, not by government, not by a dictator, not by a monarch, but by our Creator, with certain unalienable rights. And among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness." These were incredibly powerful words that changed the world. Absolutely changed the world. Now, we as a nation have failed to live up to them, and yet we then get to look at another document that was, of course, written by a Virginian, James Madison, the Constitution. In the beginning of, we like James Madison. By the way, we celebrated Constitution Day last week. And he starts out the Constitution with these powerful words: "We the people," us, we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, recognizing that it will come up short, we have to engage. That's what this is all about, engaging. I challenge each and every one of you to engage. I think Turning Point is an unbelievably great place to engage. That's what I think. And therefore, we are going to donate $100,000 to Turning Point USA to support new Turning Point chapters all over the Commonwealth of Virginia. That's what we're going to do. Engage. The last bit is to endure. You see, it's easy for moments to be flashes in the pan. 2 weeks of efforts and then move on. This is the hard part. The hard part is to endure, is to set your sights on long term, to do the work that doesn't have immediate satisfaction but impacts 1 year, 5 years, 10 years. That is the magic. I was watching one of Charlie's interviews over the weekend, and he was reflecting on what it was like that first day, 2, 3, in the beginnings of Turning Point. And he was just reflecting on the fact they had no idea what they were doing, they had no money, and they were just showing up. Now think about that. Now fast forward to today. Fast forward to today. A sniper's bullet shot from a heart filled with evil tried to silence a voice of truth. A sniper's bullet shot from a gun held by someone with a heart of evil tried to silence truth. Tried to silence all of us. But you see, the exact opposite is happening. The exact opposite is happening. There is a revival spreading across this great nation. A revival spreading across this great nation that is spreading out while it points up to who's in charge. This is so awesome. Examine. Examine. That's so important. Engage and endure. All right, let me finish where I started because you want to hear from Megyn. Charlie had two incredibly prescient quotes to live by. Two prescient ones. This too shall pass. And we know that in all things God works for the good of those who love him, who have been called according to his purpose. Take those two home with you tonight. Reflect on them. Examine, engage, make a plan to endure. That's what tonight is all about. When I look out across this room and I see thousands of light, I see thousands of the future, I see where I want to invest my future in you, because you will be light. You will carry the baton. You will engage. You will change minds. You will be that revival. And therefore, I want to say thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. Thank you for believing in what Turning Point stands for. Thank you for being willing to step outside your comfort zone. Thank you. Now, here comes the hard part. You see, one of the things that I firmly believe in is that prayer is essential, absolutely essential to everything we do. And this is now where it might be a little uncomfortable, but I'm going to ask you to bear with me. In my family, we hold hands when we pray. Now, oftentimes I do this with the big guys on my detail because I like to see them hold hands. We take pictures too. But if you wouldn't mind, just quietly reach over to the person next to you and hold hands. And gather yourself together and join me. Join me in a moment of prayer. Father God, thank you. Thank you for every single person in this room. Father, you say to bring our asks to you. We would ask for some air conditioning. But Father, we know you gathered us here tonight for a reason. And you promise us when 2 or 3 are gathered in your name, you will be among us. And so we invite you. Father, we thank you for Charlie Kirk. We thank you for his life. We thank you for the way that he lived it. We thank you for the way that you inspired him and called him. We thank you for his courage to say, yes, send me. Father, we thank you for your promise is real, that Charlie is with you in your kingdom. And yes, when he arrived, there was a celebration, and you said, well done, good and faithful servant. Father, we pray for Erica and their family. We pray for her first as a mother. We pray for her as Charlie's wife. We pray for you to give her strength to fulfill those essential callings on her. But we also pray, Father, for her new role as leader of Turning Point. that you will provide her the strength, the capabilities, and by the way, the team to do all that you want Turning Point to do. Finally, Father, I ask for your blessing on everyone here. Will you stir in their hearts a moment to examine, a moment to engage, and the strength to endure? Father, will you shine your face upon each and every one, and may they know your peace. And Father, we pray all of this in the mighty name of your Son and our Savior, Jesus Christ. And all God's people say, amen. God bless you all, and thank you.
Wow. Can you guys hear me? All right. Wow. This is pretty cool. It's kind of mean for them to put me after that. I don't think I can live up to that. But my name is Elliot. I'm the chapter president here. It is really awesome to see all you guys here. Yeah, so I mean, our chapter, the last few weeks, we have gotten so much interest, so much membership. We've been blown away. It's been awesome. So tonight, I want to thank a few people. First, I want to thank the law enforcement people here. They've been doing such a good job. You know, these last few months, or the last few weeks have been really crazy. But I mean, these guys come out here, they put their lives on the line for us, and that's really awesome. So really, thank all of you. That's so cool. And I also really want to thank all the people from Turning Point USA, my chapter staff, really just my VP and my secretary, Thomas and Jacob. They have been so awesome, and so many times when I haven't been able to do something, they've been able to step up, and it's been so cool. So can I get a round of applause for them, please? And then also the event staff and our field representative, Emily. She has been awesome. Guys, let me tell you about something about Emily. I don't know if I know anyone who works as long hours as her. I mean, she works so hard. She comes here at 9 a.m. She's not going to leave here tonight until definitely past 9 p.m. So thank you, Emily. Emily, you are so great. And all of the Turning Point USA event staff have been so awesome putting this together. I mean, really, all I do is just send a few emails to admin. They do all of the back end stuff. They brought you guys here. So really, another round of applause for them, please. And also, I want to mention, obviously, a lot of you guys here are not members of our chapter. And if you are interested, I encourage all of you to go to tpusa.com/get-involved and join our chapter. If you don't go to Virginia Tech, join a chapter or start a chapter. We need you guys. So please, I really encourage you guys to do that. Finally, I'm going to plug AmFest. If you guys don't know about AmFest, it's really awesome. It's in Arizona. It's in a few months, and it's going to be really awesome. So go to the Turning Point website, and you're not going to want to miss that. Finally, the last thing I have is to honor Charlie. We wanted to take a picture with all of you guys. So you guys should have little flags and banners in your seats. If you guys want, stand up and bring up the energy a little bit. Let's cheer. Yeah. All right, and we're gonna take a picture. Come on, yeah, guys, come on. Yeah. There we go. Thank you, guys. That's awesome. Thank you, guys. And now, it is my honor to introduce Miss Megyn Kelly.
My name is Charlie Kirk, and I love America because I love talking with people I disagree with. Started an organization that's now in 1,000+ campuses to save the greatest culture and country ever to exist.
Our family's divided. We're divided the same way the nation is divided. Will anything ever be remedied? A nation divided against itself will not stand, neither will a family divided against itself.
Why do you think your son is conservative? You as a father should listen to your son.
I used to be, at one point, on my father's side. Upon doing my own research and seeing things firsthand, I've switched sides. We talk every day about politics to the point where it's divided us.
Father-son divide is more important than politics. Really try to come down at what generational perspective do they have. Never let politics get in the way of the beautiful relationship between father and son.
And my question for you is, do you have any hate against the LGBT community?
How could I hate that which I have a heart for? I might not agree at that for some of the lifestyle choices that some people make, but of course not. And if someone said, Charlie, what's your view on marriage? I say, I believe marriage is between one man and one woman. Do I have hate in my heart for somebody that doesn't choose the lifestyle that I believe that God laid out in the scriptures? Of course not.
Yeah. What's this big for?
I go around universities and have challenging conversations because that's what is so important to our country, is to find our disagreements respectfully, because when people stop talking, that's when violence happens.
Okay.
You could see that happen all across the world.
What motivates you to come at you?
Well, because I love talking to people I disagree with. When people stop talking, that's when you get violence. That's when civil war happens, because you start to think the other side is so evil and they lose their humanity.
First, I just want to say I don't agree with you on a lot of stuff, but I really respect, and I think you don't agree with me on a lot of stuff, but I really respect that you'll have a dialogue. I think one of the big problems in this country right now is, like, people can't have a dialogue, and people, like, don't even know how to, like, have a dialogue and use logic and, like, have an actual argument like you do. So how do we improve that as a country? How do you think we get more people that can argue like on both sides of the aisle?
And I think this event is a great example of it, right? I think that this event is, we need to have differing opinions. We need to have people that don't share the same worldview and see which one is better and try to find common bond. You should have your own discussions like this every day. You should try to model it and try to have, you know, back and forth, and that's what makes the country strong and great. Civil dialogue.
Megyn, you are amazing. God bless you. And Turning Point USA thanks you.
For being here, you guys. I am thrilled to be here with you guys tonight, and of course my only sadness is that it's not with Charlie. Charlie asked me to go on the tour with him a couple of months ago, and we were going back and forth on which stop would make the most sense, and he'd propose one date and I couldn't do it, or the other way around, and we settled on Virginia Tech a while ago, and he was so looking forward to this. I was just talking to Erica, and she wanted to tell me that, number one, wanted me to tell you, he's so looking forward to this. He so wanted to be here with you, and that she is so proud of you for showing up. And she also wanted me to tell you that she's got your back. Turning Point has got your back. I guess I wanted to start with just thanking you for showing up. Showing up. They say, half of life is showing up, and you did that. And in this particular circumstance, showing up is courageous, given what happened with Charlie. And I'm sure many of you thought about it. I'm sure many of you had conversations with your parents about it. Is it safe? Should I do it? Am I going to be okay? And I had conversations with my family about it too. But I think we all came for the same reason. Obviously, to hear me. But really, the reason is to send a message that we will not be silenced by an assassin's bullet, by a heckler's veto, by a left-wing woke professor, or anyone who tries to silence us from saying what we really believe. Those days are done. They're really done. The last in-person conversation I had with Charlie was in July, and you just saw a tiny clip of it at the end of that reel. We were in Tampa at the Turning Point event, and we did a long segment. We talked about Epstein, we talked about a bunch of stuff, and we finished it with Charlie asking me, what advice do you have for all these students here? Because it was the Student Action Summit, so it was a bunch of young people just like you. And it wasn't rehearsed. He didn't know what I was going to say. We just happened to have a lot of shared values. And I said, say the thing you really want to say. Say what you really believe. Say what's actually in your heart. Don't go along with what the professor wants you to say just to get a pat on the head or a good grade. It's truly, deeply important. And let me explain why. You know the basics, but let me explain more. For too long, what's been happening in college campuses and high schools and middle schools for that matter, and possibly below, is that students who are right-leaning or conservative in thought or independent-minded even, and may have heterodox thinking on whatever issue of the day it is, have been clamming up. Because we all know very well that 99% of our professors are leftists, and they're not going to like us if they find out that we're not. And they will like us more if they at least think we might be leftists, like there's still a chance. And we're not going to get as good a grade on our paper if we write right-wing things instead of left-wing things. If we take all the positions that they want us to take, especially on cultural issues, we're going to be well-liked and well-graded. And maybe you want to go to med school. Maybe you want to go to grad school. So your grades matter. So you figure, I'm just going to play along for the short term, for the long-term gain. And then finally, maybe when I get out there into the world, I can say how I feel. At that point, I can express my actual beliefs. But what happens is, you get into grad school or med school or law school, and you just run into a bunch more of the same kind of professors. They're just giving you a different degree. So the game has to keep going, because your grades don't stop mattering when you get into law school or med school or grad school. You could argue they matter even more, because now you're competing for your real job at the end of this particular stint. So you need to have the perfect A's in your med school. You've got to, these are competitive people. We're all doctors, we're all lawyers, we're all grad students. So you keep doing it, this routine. And then you get hired at a hospital or a law firm or a company that likes these grades and has no idea who you really are because you've done nothing. You haven't put anything on your resume that would telegraph you might not be like-minded to them. You might actually be on the right side of the aisle. So they welcome you into their company. And then you may find out the hard way, a year or two or more into it, that there has been a mismatch. Because they're not looking for somebody who thinks the way you do, who loves America the way you do, who believes in personal integrity the way you do. They're looking for a woke duck that's going to follow in line behind without making too much noise. And they see on your resume, you are such a person. You never caused trouble. You didn't put Turning Point USA on your resume while applying. You didn't walk into that interview with your advanced history or politics and gov essay and a D on the front of it, and you didn't hold it up like a badge of honor saying, let me show you what I wrote and why I got this D. Because I refused to write that capitalism is bad. I refused to write that men can become women. I refused to say the Second Amendment should be repealed. I refused to say that hate speech is not free speech. I refused and told that employer right from the get-go who you really were, so that at a minimum, if you weren't like-minded, you had a basic respect for the fact that you stand up for what you believe in and you don't lie about what's important to you. And so what needs to happen now for a couple of reasons. To ensure that your long-term marriage with your corporate employer, whoever it may be, is a good one, is a real one, and is founded on ideal principles. You don't have to wear your politics on your sleeve, but you can't hide them anymore. You can't hide them anymore because of the second reason, which is, simply put, there is safety in numbers. You know the "We Are All Charlie Kirk" that we've been saying and hearing? That's more than a slogan. We're saying that because we believe in Charlie's ideals, we believe in what he stood for, and we want to reinforce in our own personal lives. But "We are Charlie Kirk" means something more to me. If you say it, and 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 you say it, then it is less dangerous for me to be up here, or for you to be up here the next time, or for you guys to be in class writing what's true, or for you guys to apply for that internship or corporate job or med school, whatever it is. We know we're in the majority. We know that conservatives are in the majority in the United States of America. That is why we have Trump as 47. So why are we so afraid? We're the majority. Why are we so afraid? Because we are indoctrinated for the first 25 years of our lives in leftist institutions that try to make us little leftists, or at least afraid, scared, cowering conservatives who don't want anyone to know. Let it out. Say it loud, say it proud. There's nothing wrong with it. It's beautiful. Stop hiding it. Stand up for what you believe in. Be respectful of the other side, just like Charlie was. You don't have to own your professor, or, be a jerk. But they're not allowed to own you or be a jerk to you either. We've been going along with that, letting them do that to us for too long, and it's bull. You know me and my potty mouth if you listen to the show. But this is a Charlie event, so I'm going to keep it clean. I'm going to try. So you have to. Now you have to. And by the way, having been canceled from a job very publicly, can I tell you, it's better for you if you really do have your principles line up with those of your employer. I've actually come around to the place where I love cancel culture. I actually think it separates a person from a place at which they did not belong. You don't get canceled from a company that shares your values. Time after time, these cancellations have worked to remove, I would say, liberate many of us from a place that was positively vile. What? Was that out loud? So you've got to do it. So find your courage, find your strength, and show up. Show up for yourself. Be honest. Bring your integrity into the room. Stand up for your principles. Stop hiding them. Don't let a professor berate you out of them, and you remind them that you, not they, are in the majority. All right, enough from me. Let's hear from you. You guys have some questions for me? I'm going to let the Turning Points people take it over. Come sit in the front row of your life. God bless you. Thank you. Love you guys. Love you. It's like we have ways of making you talk late.
Hi, Megyn.
Hi.
I'm just wondering, what is your gym split?
My gym split. That is very funny. So I do work out only twice a week. And can I tell you, that's enough. I work out twice a week for 45 minutes with a trainer. And I just lift light weights. That's it. That's all you have to do. I do walk a lot, like I do some aerobic activity and that, but I'm telling you, you really don't have to do much more than that, to be honest, and I don't really have a ton of time to do much more than that, but if you can spare 45 minutes twice a week, it'll tone you right up. Yeah. Yeah, right on.
Hi, Megyn. I just wanted to also start you off.
Sorry, I can't hear you, hon.
Hello. I just wanted to start you off with another easy question. What is your Starbucks order?
Oh, my Starbucks order. All right, so it's a trick answer. I don't go to Starbucks. Right on. Not go to Starbucks. It's too bitter. And by that, I mean the employees. It's not for me. Hi.
Hey, nice to meet you. I do disagree, I think, with some of the things that you have said, but I also disagree with some of the things that have been said about Israel in regarding to what Candace Owens has said, what Ben Shapiro has said, but I feel like I do agree with you in the sum that you sometimes will take a more nuanced approach and criticize them or agree with them. But I wanted to ask, I disagree with the Republicans. I feel like they're being vague about Israel. And so I wonder if places, I'm asking for specific people. Do people like Bill Ackman, Robert Shillman, or AIPAC, are they influencing American politicians? Are they influencing popular YouTubers? Are they influencing people like Fox News? And God forbid, are they influencing our president and the decisions that are made?
You might be the one person in America that agrees neither with Ben Shapiro nor with Candace Owens. I don't understand where you are. So I don't know what the answer to that is, whether Bill Ackman is influencing President Trump on Israel. I mean, I think President Trump, especially on foreign policy, has come to his own conclusions. You know, look what he just said about Ukraine yesterday. You know, he's suddenly flipped the switch and he was like, I think they could win the whole territory back. What? And then some, he said. Wait, what? Trump is actually, you can see his evolution as he deals with foreign policy, and that's a job of one, really, right? Because the commander-in-chief is going to have to make a lot of these calls that are going to get people killed. His goal is to stop killing people and to save lives, which is really laudable. So I think Trump is making his own decisions on Israel. I think Trump is very pro-Israel, very pro-Israel. And I would say Trump and I have the same position when it comes to Israel. We're on Israel's side. However, having said that, Trump said this a year ago and I said this thereafter. It's time to wrap it up. It's time. It's been too long, and Israel is losing the support of its closest ally and most important ally in the world, and that's us. They've already lost the Dems. They've lost the independents. They've lost Republicans under 30, and they're starting to etch away at Republicans over 30, and that can't happen if Israel wants to maintain its standing in the world. So that's my view.
Real fast, quick follow-up, thank you. Do you think rich billionaire Jews or the Israeli government influences American politics?
Did you say rich billionaire Jews? Whoa. I don't like when people call Jewish people Jews after the word billionaire. It sounds kind of uncomfortable. It makes me feel uncomfortable. Hell, why not? If you're a rich billionaire, whether you're a Jew or you're a Christian, you're a Muslim, why wouldn't you try to exert your influence? I mean, that's what they all do. They all try to buy the president. All of them. One of the reasons Trump got elected was because he had independent money and he promised us that he wasn't loyal to anybody except for us, and we believed that promise. And so far, I feel like he's done pretty well on it. Hi there.
Hi. I just wanted to know, because I feel like we live in a world that's full of a lot of hate right now, how I, as a Christian conservative woman on a college campus, can love and show compassion to people who don't agree with me and, quite frankly, hate me, because it's scary to walk around and feel secure in my beliefs when I know that people want me to, die for what I believe in.
Well, I would say, first and foremost, have in your frontal lobe a woman named Erica Kirk. Have you ever seen such a showing of strength and compassion and Christianity in one soul? You know, she is now the lifeblood of this entire organization, and she was completely the appropriate choice. But I mean, if she can find forgiveness in her heart for the assassin who stole Charlie from all of us, you can surely find it for the people who are jerks on college campuses. Now, having said that, I do actually have a real-life approach to dealing with hardcore liberals with whom we disagree. And I know this approach. I have this in my heart because some of my best friends are hardcore liberals. I mean, I've been living in Manhattan for the past 20 years. We only recently moved to Connecticut. I'm from a family of Democrats, so I have this skill down, and I would recommend the following. Be with them, have dinner, have lunch, have coffee, have a drink, whatever, and don't talk about politics at all. There's so many other things we can talk about besides politics. Here tonight, we'll probably talk about some politics, among other things. But think about it, like when you go out with your girlfriends, you're not constantly talking about Trump and, Chuck Schumer. Literally nobody's ever talking about Chuck Schumer. You're talking about your life, like the guy you're dating and what school you want to go to and this professor who's a jerk and, the diet that you want to try. Like, that's all the stuff, like that's the spice of life. That's what can bond you with somebody and remind you of their humanity without making politics the stakes. I go on a once-a-year girls' trip with two of my best friends. One's from Chicago, one is from Detroit, and my Detroit gal is definitely very liberal, a committed liberal. I wouldn't call her a leftist. She's not woke. The Midwesterners are sane. And then my Chicago gal is more independent, right-leaning. And we've been doing this every year for 20-plus years. And why does it work? because we don't talk about politics that much. I think you should keep leftists in your life. I don't think you should talk about politics. If you really, really love each other and you feel like it's safe to try an issue here or there, then introduce it. But there's really no reason to start debating, I think, people with whom you have diametrically opposed views, because while you should hear them, you should know what they are, debating them with each other, I think is probably not likely to convince either one of you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, how are you, Megyn?
Hi, I'm good.
Thank you
How
for
you
being
doing?
here. Thank you, Glenn Youngkin. This is a great event. I just want to start off by saying I'm a huge lefty. I love Joe Biden. I was one of the
Welcome here anyway.
I was one of the 50 to 100 people at his rallies back in the 2020 COVID era. And I just
really
wanted
wanted
to ask about your thoughts on Barack Obama. He's like my favorite president of all time. I think he was great for this country. It was really nice to see a beautiful black man in the office. And where would you rank him among like modern U.S. presidents? Where would you put him?
Sorry, I didn't hear the landing.
Like, where would you rank Barack Obama out of the last few modern presidents? Like, for me, he's number one. Like, where would you put him?
You're a very brave man, first of all. Good for you. Good for you for coming out here and saying that in front of all these people who you probably assume don't agree. So that's very brave of you. I would rank him in the 21st century at the very bottom. Yes, correct. Yeah. He'd be last. And I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why. As you guys may know, I don't know because you're young, but are you guys aware of the fact that President Trump and I didn't always get along? Yeah, okay. So there's a history there. But now we do. Now we're all good. But at the beginning of Trump, 15, 16, we were coming off of Obama. And I used to say at that time, I think Obama is a good man, but a bad president, and that Trump is a bad man, but a good president. That's what I thought initially. And I completely had that wrong. I actually think Obama was a bad president, and I genuinely think he was a bad man. I know, sorry, controversial. And I think Trump is a good man and a good president. I think both. And the thing that I really object to about the Barack Obama years, having lived them and reported on him nightly on Fox News, is that I don't think we've had a more divisive president. People think President Trump is divisive. Let me walk you back through the Barack Obama years, okay? The first thing he did, was he seized control of 1/7 of the US economy and shoved down our throats Obamacare, which the American people did not want and did not have majority support. It was the first time in our history that it had ever been done, and the country was angry. He lied repeatedly, saying, if you like your doctor, you can keep if you like your plan, you can keep your plan. It was a lie, and he knew it was a lie at the time. I used to give him the benefit of the doubt, saying he was mistaken about his own health care plan, because that's the kind of person I used to be. And then it became clear that he knew it was a lie, because the facts came out he knew it was a lie. So he lied intentionally and took people's doctors away, and people died. He got in there and said, elections have consequences. Too bad. I'm doing it. He's the one who injected race into the society at every turn. We never had a president do this before. And not just because he happens to be of mixed race. We never had a president take cases, legal cases, and I was a lawyer, practiced law for 10 years before I went into journalism, take legal cases that are in the news and comment on them in a way that's very provocative and stirs up anger, like the Trayvon Martin case. He's the one who made that a new practice of getting ahead of the evidence and dividing us on that issue. We could be here all night, but those are a couple of examples. So,
okay, thank you.
Thank you for coming and for the question.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. So I'm a mom, and I know you're a mom, and I have my child on Yimpy, and that's a Christian-based, app, so she can watch TV and everything. But I have a question on, we pray morning, eating, mid-afternoon, we do scripture, and we pray at night, but at the same time, I don't want to, brainwash her and make her feel as she gets older that I'm just shoving it down her throat and, brainwashing her. I want her to have that feeling that he's there.
On your faith, you're saying?
Right.
Yeah.
So how do I balance that?
Well, I think with any of these issues, could you guys hear the question? Okay. How can she raise her child to be a person of faith without shoving it down her throat and going over the top? I really think the answer to that is the answer I'd give you on virtually anything that you want to teach your children, which is light-handed. Let them think it's their idea. Even with our children, and my husband and I really do not want to raise 3 lefties at all. But we have said from birth, it's up to you. You guys will figure out what you want to do. These are our values. This is how we view these issues. Even on the most controversial issues, you name it. We say this is what we think, but you guys are going to have to figure out what you think. And then just exposure, exposure, exposure. You know, it's like Tucker Carlson is back for his 20th visit. I don't know why he's here again, right? Just exposure. And I think she'll get it. But it's kind of like you being a little more subtle about bringing it into her life.
So part 2, what do you think is like a good age? Like, let's say we go to church. What is a good age to be like, okay, you can make that decision?
Well, that I would say never. Once they're out of your house. Like in our house, they're going, whether they want to go or not. You know, and you teach them. That's an obligation. You're coming.
Thank you so much.
You bet. Hi.
Hi, Megan. It's so nice to meet you. My name is Jenna. I'm one of the co-founders of the Turning Point chapter at JMU.
Right on. All right.
I'm the other co-founder, co-president, vice president.
Way to go, girls.
So I have a question for you. Sorry, I'm like shaking. I'm so nervous. So I work at school, and I work under and with mainly a lot of people who disagree with my values and beliefs. And I've never really spoken about it in front of them just for the sake of keeping the peace and the friendships. Since starting this chapter, I've received a lot of like different treatment from those people at work, indirectly mostly. However, recently this past week, I was reported by a coworker for discussing politics and making her uncomfortable with a fellow coworker when I was mainly just discussing how great it was to have this new chapter and the events we had planned this week. And in an interview for a higher position, I was asked who my role model was, and my answer was Charlie, because that's always been my answer. And I tried to think of a different answer, but I'd be lying. So I said that, and when discussing this with a coworker who was present, I was basically told that it was a bad answer and that it was the wrong answer. So just like dealing with all of this at work, what is your advice on moving forward with this?
Well, I mean, I'm trying not to swear, but F these people. These are bad people. You should not want to continue the relationship with them. Anybody who would make your politics the stakes of your presence there is not somebody you should work with. They're bad people. Normal lefties, again, I have them all over my life. Normal liberal people, normal Democrats will not make your love for Charlie the stakes of your employment or advancement. What you're telling me is these are bad people, and you should extract yourself from them as soon as humanly possible and find a better place to work. You're in Virginia. We have actual conservatives here, not like New York where I've been living. Get me your number, and I will help find you a job.
Thank you. I'll try and find you after, if that's okay.
You're welcome.
And also, part 2, for our like new and upcoming chapter, do you have any advice for us starting in a mostly left-sided campus?
Well, you think they're mostly left-sided, this campus. But let me tell you what happens once you start speaking as a conservative. Because there have actually been studies on this, not about politics, but on how in any given room, you think you're in the minority, so you don't raise your hand. You think your question's dumb, so you don't raise your hand. You think your position is the weird one, so you don't raise your hand. And that every time you do speak up, you find there's a circle in the room that agrees with you. And then the circle multiplies because people hear you espouse the idea and they're like, you know what, that's my belief too. And you don't have to trust Megyn Kelly about this. Go on X any day of the week. I know you're all young. Do you guys go on X? It's okay, you're not stuck on TikTok alone, right? Because they hate our people. But go on X any day of the week and you will see the sea of videos coming out right now of young people saying, oh my God, I've been watching Charlie Kirk videos and I am a conservative. But you're not gonna get people there unless you speak the truth, you say what you believe, you stand up in class, and then someone's gonna say, you know what, she's bold. And I'll just say, not as, just as an aside, but I do kind of think where the hot men are, the hot women come. So I know Turning Point can be very heavily male-dominated, but ladies, as soon as you start showing up there and show them who you're seeing, I feel like you're gonna have a lot more droves behind you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Hi, love your hat.
Hi, thank you so much. I just want to first thank you so much for being here. My question today is, what is your advice to young adults who are getting leftist bull, we'll call it, pushed down their throats? Specifically with like my grandparents, they blatantly like screamed at me in front of like a family dinner for not being vaccinated, and I originally told them like it wasn't their business. Along with, I'm taking an identity and inclusion in agriculture class, which is a required course for my major. And again, I know you've mentioned it already a little bit, but I feel forced to act like I'm a lefty. What's your advice on that?
So on the vaccine front?
Just no, on how to deal with people who are trying to change my views. And
well, you should listen to them. You know, I mean, I listen to people who disagree with me all the time, because the rare occasion comes along when I realize I was wrong about something, and then as a result of this conversation, I'll be less wrong tomorrow than I was today. So I mean, the name of Charlie's this session, you know, that he does on college campuses, or did, is Prove Me Wrong. So you should be open-minded to being proven wrong, because maybe we are wrong on some things. Who knows? Could happen. Thought I was wrong once, but I wasn't. I was right. So you should listen to them and maybe engage, ask questions, see why they think about these issues differently than you do. And if you disagree, you don't have to try to convince them back. You just say, I got it. You gave me something to think about. That's it. And there's nothing wrong with your questions about vaccine, and that class you have to take is absolute baloney. And I'm doing well, aren't I? And on my swearing. And I actually think in that class, maybe you could have some fun. Like if I went to that class, I think I'd enjoy myself. You should say what you really believe.
I'm honestly afraid that I'm not going to pass the class if I speak up, like you've already mentioned.
Then you take that paper and you go to your dean and you say, this person's failing me because I'm conservative, and I'm literally going to Harmeet Dillon at the DOJ's Civil Rights Office if you try to ruin my college career because of my political beliefs.
Okay, well, thank you so much. I definitely speak up in class. I'm just a little hesitant, even though I'm normally like pretty loud and proud about my.
You're hesitant because you guys aren't having her back. Charlie's Army, they use that term at his memorial, Charlie's Army. And you're all part of it. And you guys have to have her back. Erica said she'd have your back. You gotta have her back. If she speaks up in class and says something, somebody say, I agree with her. That's how I feel too. You gotta do it for each other, so you're not just the one sore thumb sticking out, and the teacher feels less emboldened to try to bully you. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Hi, Megan. My name's Mary. My mom loves you, by the way.
Right on.
Do you think the Epstein files should be released, and why do you think they haven't been released yet?
Yes, I think the Epstein files should be released. This has not been handled well by the administration. I mean, the overpromising and the underdelivering doesn't work in any area of politics, and it really doesn't work when it's something this, well covered. So no, I think we are entitled to more documents. Will we get them? I doubt it. I don't think so. I think so far they've been sort of putting out things that they think are supposed to satisfy us, like we'll call for the court transcripts, like the grand jury indictment in the Epstein case and the Ghislaine Maxwell case, which they knew they weren't going to get. They knew the court was going to say no, and indeed the court said no. So these have been fig leaves so far. I'm not satisfied. I've also moved on because we have a lot more important things to discuss at this point. But yeah, no, I give them a D- in how they're handling Epstein.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
I'm a big fan of the podcast.
Thank you.
As a fellow Catholic, I really enjoy seeing you engage with the faith on your show, particularly when you bring on guests like Bishop Robert Barron and Father Michael Schmitz. My question is, seeing you re-engage with your faith, has that made you reconsider your position at all on IVF over the last year since the Alabama court case? I know that you've been very publicly supportive of IVF, and on a couple of points on which I think we agree. I think we both agree that all children that have been brought into the world using IVF are a blessing. It is a good thing that they exist and are in the world. I think we also both share the opinion that all children that are currently in a cryogenic freezer should have the opportunity to be born, and they shouldn't be held captive by an IVF clinic. But my question is specifically on your thoughts on, is it good for society? Should we allow society to have millions of human children conceived in a way through IVF, in which many of them will be destroyed, many of them will never have the opportunity to be born?
Did everybody hear it? He's asking about my opinion on IVF, in vitro fertilization, because it can leave a fertilized embryo in a test tube or, petri dish forevermore, frozen, potentially millions of them, sitting, waiting, that'll never be born, and that is life. So it's a good question. And I've been public about the fact that we used IVF to conceive our kids, so obviously I'm in favor of it. Yeah, thank you. You're really going to love them when you meet them. But I totally get that it's controversial, and I would just say, I'm not really into, forcing other people to do it exactly the way I did it, but I think there is an ethical way of doing it, because having been through this, now I can say, you get all the eggs, and you know how many eggs you have, and then you can choose how many to fertilize. Like women will only produce 2 eggs. So most women would say, I would carry 2 babies, and then you can fertilize those 2 eggs. But if you are somebody who produces a bunch of eggs, let's say you produce 20 eggs, then now you have a real moral quandary, I think you should, before you fertilize all those eggs, because those are babies, and you probably aren't going to go back and get them. Now, having my 3 children, I can't imagine having 3 more of them, just like them, waiting for me in a freezer, and I'm too old to go get them, So I agree with you that it really does pose a serious moral issue, and I thank God every day that we did it in a way where I did not have any extra embryos, and I think everyone can get there. The mother will have to go through potentially another cycle or 2, because you don't just get all the eggs at once and fertilize them all. But it's worth it. It's worth it to not have a child of yours sitting in a freezer somewhere.
Yeah, I agree. Do you think that since it's such an ethical problem that we should have the government involved in a way where we can make sure that extra leftover children, as you once mentioned on the podcast, won't be created?
Won't be?
How do we prevent the creation of what you called leftover children, just like the children that you're worried about?
I don't think it's a matter of the law. I agree with you. It's not a government solution. I think it's an individual solution.
Are you concerned at all on just society moving in a direction where we differentiate the value on life based on if you're conceived in a womb or conceived not in a womb, but yet to be implanted?
Yeah, a little. Am I worried about differentiating the value of life if it's in a womb versus out? Because we're really getting into a weird transhuman and, experimentation place in life, and I don't know where that's going. And you've got some people talking about growing babies in incubators without a mother even present, which is a hard no. So I am concerned, and I don't have that one all figured out. I just know there are too many parents I know who are so amazing, who have had their kids via IVF, and we definitely want more kids. We already have a population problem. In this country, you guys are not going to be able to support my people when we're all on Social Security, which will be bankrupt anyway. So we really do need more babies, especially in the United States. So we want to encourage that. I don't think it's up to government to say no. But thank you for your question.
I want to be respectful of the line, but I do want to say God.
Yeah, let's let somebody else go. But thank you.
God bless you and God bless Charlie.
Thank you. Oh yeah, God bless. I feel bad because you guys are all lined up.
Hi, Megan.
Hi.
Oops. Hi, my name's David Ioannidis. I've been a lifelong conservative Jew, and I just wanted to understand or sort of reconcile the idea of all the different beliefs that are held here. I know that there are a lot.
Do me a favor, put the mic closer to your mouth, you guys, so everybody can hear.
There you go.
Yes, it's better.
Everybody can hear me now? We're all good? Awesome. All right, so I've been a lifelong conservative Jew, and I was just trying to reconcile the idea of all the different beliefs that we have here and the religion being brought into them as well. Can those beliefs be separated and sort of perpetuated without having to believe specifically in Catholicism or Christianity?
Of course.
Of course. So
you can be an atheist and believe everything that we believe. Everything. Except for the part about God and Jesus and Scripture. But you can not believe in God and still believe in respect for your fellow humans and still believe in divided government and still believe in the Constitution and the way we've chosen to live here in America. And in fact, that was one of the founding principles. We were a Christian nation and founded as a Christian nation. But the ability to have different faiths in the country was there from the beginning. So yes, I think it's a very big tent. Conservatism is a very big tent. Now I will say, taking conservative values and infusing them with faith in God supercharges them. And I think we saw that in Charlie. Gives you the will and the temerity to go out there and spread the good word and fight for these principles in a way you probably wouldn't have if you were purely an atheist. But yes, I think the answer to your question is yes.
No, of course. It allows you to have some humility and understanding, at least fuels that humility and understanding that there's at least something bigger than you. My next question then was, would I'm good, thank you.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, forgive me. Do me a favor, though. Keep it to one, because the line is so long, we'll never get through it, and I hate to leave people standing. Hate it. Hi.
Hi, thank you for being here today. I just wanted to bring up some bipartisan issues.
Sure.
First, like, what's your stance on congressman term limits and individual stock ownership for congressmen?
The stock ownership while they're in Congress and they basically insider trade all day has got to end. And it looks like it may. It looks like there's majority support in the House for that to happen. Now the question is whether the Senate will get on board, because it can't get to Trump's desk unless we get Senate buy-in. But I think that will come to an end. I mean, Paul Pelosi's trades are awfully on the mark. That woman got rich off of all of us, and she actually wants us to believe that it was just his good luck. That's bull. So yeah, I'm totally against it. Term limits, yes, I guess so. I haven't really thought it out, to be honest with you. You guys like it. I see why. I guess here's my true view. I have zero hope in U.S. Congresspeople. I do not think they're the answer. I don't think it's going to matter whether we switch them out and switch new people in. I think the organization is corrupt and basically lost to us, and tomorrow's solutions rely on you, the private sector, Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, and people like that. I just don't think the idea is not to give Congress any more power than it already has or find new people. That's not the solution. The institution has been lost. And it's been lost for a whole bunch of reasons. Citizens United, which I believe was correctly decided, but it has really corrupted Congress in a way where they only have to answer to the richest donors who oversee their district. So there's no more across-the-aisle negotiating. They don't do bipartisanship anymore. And so they talk past each other. They don't make compromises. It's a lost institution as far as I'm concerned. We technically need them, but there's no fixing it.
And I wanted to bring up one follow-up quick question. Conservatives and liberals both combined, polls show that about 80% support term limits or support banning individual stock ownership. And representatives are supposed to represent the people, yet obviously they haven't tried to really push towards this. So how do we as individuals, even on both sides of parties, try to make this issue more known or try to be pushed more in representation?
Well, you know how Governor Youngkin was saying, out of all of you, 1 or 10 or 100 of you may one day decide you might want to run for Virginia governor, and it's a great job and you should do it? Well, someday 1 or 10 or 100 of you may decide you want to become a journalist, and you should definitely not do it. Run. Do not walk in the opposite direction. But you could start a podcast, which isn't exactly the same thing, and use your voice and build your following and say all these things, and I think that's the future for my particular business. And I would submit to you that I have more influence over most issues of the day than any U.S. congressperson. So do use your voice, but find ways around this corrupt, broken system to do it.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
You bet.
Good evening. I feel like we are living through a time of unprecedented political divide, and way closer, okay. And it's something that I feel like affects like everyone. It's what ultimately got Charlie, in my opinion, and it's what almost got Trump. So how do you feel we should go about as individuals trying to reconcile that political divide?
Yep.
Because ultimately it's down to all of us.
Well, I think we talked about it right off the top, right? First of all, say what you believe. We've seeded the fight on the right. We have seeded it. I mean, all the way through. It's like, and then, to continue the point I was making earlier, then you get out into your job, and now you're still not saying your politics, because now you don't want to offend your boss or your coworkers, et cetera. And then dying in your bed, 50, 70 years from now, you can be really proud of yourself that you never offended anyone. Great job. I was just looking at this article that was online today, and it was about a hospice nurse who talks about what matters to them in the final days of their lives. And of course, we've all heard it's family and kids and having spent time with loved ones. But the other thing she was saying most people want to talk about is whether they mattered. And they want to go over the things that they accomplished in their lives that made them feel like they mattered. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to know at a young age that you are making a difference, right? That your voice and your values meant more to you than being well-liked everywhere? Where has that ever gotten anyone? The goal is not to be well-liked. The goal, Matthew McConaughey was on the show today, and he said, I want to be known as a good man, not a nice guy. He said, it's fine to sometimes be a nice guy, but what's important sometimes when there's conflict is that you're a good man, not that you're a nice man. And I think that's really what you're getting to. Like, there are times to stand up and say, I'm a good man, and a good man fights for his values and says what's real. And if we have to have a disagreement politically, I mean, when we're in the political arena, not at the dinner table, not necessarily at Thanksgiving, but in the political arena where we're in a class or we're in a conversation about politics, say what you believe. And don't be apologetic about it. You remember that you're the side that has the 80+ million votes. You're the side that's elected a Republican president twice. The Democrats are losing. Their party support is in the toilet. Even Democrats don't like Democrats anymore. Republicans are enthused. They're energized. It's never been cool to be a Republican. Trust me. People are like, Republicans are cool again. I'm like, oh, you had it almost right. So close. Again, does not belong on there. But we are. So don't be ashamed. Talk about it openly. And that's really the only way we're ever going to affect change. And by the way, I will say, even though I'm sort of a cynical mofo about Congress, there are signs of hope, like Congressman Brandon Gill, right? He's from here, Virginia, and he's brilliant. There are some people who go in there and they do it boldly and they do it well. So let guys like that be your inspo.
All right, thank you. That was a great answer.
Oh, thank you. Hi.
Hi, Megan. I just have a quick question. So I work on labor and delivery at a hospital in Salem. I'm just going to read something.
Yeah, go for it.
So one of my coworkers posted on her Facebook that she would not pray for evil to rest peacefully, referring to Charlie. And then she shared a post that said Trump blamed the radical left on the assassination when there wasn't even a suspect identified yet. You want to know why our country is so divided? He divides us. He said, same friend. She said, same friend. I'll be playing No One Mourns the Wicked all day, every day in celebration. She was suspended for only a week. I just want to know how you think I should go about this, because if it was me or a conservative Christian who posted this, we would have been fired on the spot. We've also been told that we shouldn't post things on social media because we don't want to be unwelcoming and create like a hostile environment. So I just want to know how I should go about this when they have double.
What's her job?
She's a lactation consultant, so she's not technically a nurse, but she goes in and helps newborns.
Yeah, I know what a lactation consultant is.
Yeah.
That's in all your futures, ladies. Look forward to that. The one thing I will say about breastfeeding, it is best for the baby, but they're selling it all wrong. If you breastfeed your baby, by the time that baby's 8 months, if you're still breastfeeding, which you should be, at least through the first year, that weight comes off like there's no tomorrow. It's better than the Ozempic. So, in any event, I'm surprised that the hospital did anything to her for saying the hateful things about Charlie. And by the way, she's wrong, because the reason we knew this was a leftist who took Charlie's life right from the get-go is because we saw the bullet casings right away. Before we even knew who the guy was, we saw the bullet casings, which were very clearly leftist messaging. And then it's been reinforced at every single term, no matter what Jimmy Kimmel wants to tell you, right? So I would say, look, as a conservative, I don't think it's really our jam to run around getting people canceled, even for hateful thoughts. I think it's good the university or the hospital suspended her for a week. She probably got the message. But in this life, you're going to deal with bad people. You know, you are. If it's the majority at your place and they're actually your employers, you have to rethink where you're working. If it's just some coworker who's like dealing with breast milk, you got better things to worry about. Say what you believe and say it loud. Make sure more people agree with you than trying to police her.
Okay.
She doesn't have to be your problem.
Just a second part really quick. How would you suggest that I, as a conservative and Christian, if I talk to another person about my beliefs, like we'll talk about it at the nurse's station, it's no big deal, but when other people come up to us, like higher ups, and tell us to be quiet, but then they allow the liberals to talk about this around other people, how should I go about that?
Well, I mean, look, at the office, you should be working. You know, you should be talking about politics at the office. Like at my office place, we talk about politics. But like at yours, you got babies to deliver. Like, let's focus on that. If I were your boss, I'd say save it for the after dinner drink. 2, But if they have a different standard for the left and the right, one of two things. Now we may be back to you're not at the right place for you. Or it may be an issue that you have to go directly to your boss and address. And let me tell you something. This is not just, old hag Megyn Kelly telling you that. Young co-ed Megyn Kelly had a moment just like that. When I was a brand new lawyer, I had a partner at my law firm who kept making only me copy cases. If he had an assignment for the young men, the male lawyers, he had the paralegal copy the case, and then the two would discuss it, or his secretary. But I was the only female attorney in the office, and when it was me, he wanted me to copy the case, which is secretarial work. And I was 24, and he was 64, and I was very scared, but I resolved the next time he asked me to copy a case, I was going to confront him on it, and I did. I had my pre-ready line. I had it in my head. I said, Bob, if the next time you want me to copy a case, I'm going to tell you that you need to ask Peggy or this other gal to do it. If you want me to copy a case because you want to sit down and discuss it with me as lawyers, that's a separate matter. But you have a secretary to do secretarial work. Well, he got red in the face. He almost blew a gasket. But you know what? He never asked me to copy a case again. And the owners of the firm backed me. They backed me. Yes. They actually said to him, if you ever make an associate of this firm copy a case for you again, it'll be the last thing you do at this firm. So, God may be calling you to a moment where you may need to say to your employer, I don't object to you telling me that I can't discuss politics at work, but I do object to the double standard, and I would like an explanation.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello. I came here from North Carolina to see Turning Point USA, and we were gonna go to see Charlie Kirk, but and so I just wanted to say thank you for continuing it, and yeah.
Thank you for showing up.
The question is,
thank you guys.
My question is, there are two definitions for the word virgin. The first one is
now it's getting good. Did you hear what she said? Two definitions for the word virgin. Pay attention.
That in Greek terms, the first definition is what we all know what a virgin is, and the second is a young woman of bearing age. So if what was Mary? Was she the first or the second?
Wow, that's above my pay grade. I mean, a virgin in my understanding is somebody who has never had sex. Yeah, that's my understanding. That's my understanding of the Virgin Mary. Never had sex. I don't think the meaning changes. I'm not sure about the dual meaning. There's no Venn diagram that comes to mind that would explain that. I apologize for not being more illuminating to you. I'm stuck in 21st century America, but I think there's only one real understanding of it, and that's it. Thank you.
Would you rather be a human with pineapple thoughts or a pineapple with human thoughts?
Would I rather be a human with pineapple thoughts or a pineapple with human thoughts? Wow. I guess I'd rather be a pineapple with human thoughts, right? Because then you have sentience. Then you actually have a way of thinking. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Well done on your originality. I got to ask the TPUSA people whether that one's ever been asked. Originality. Hi there.
Hi, I had either a silly question or a serious question. Which would you prefer?
Silly or serious?
Yes, ma'am.
Let's do a silly one.
All right, so Charlie Kirk was very well known for his stance that the original Star Wars trilogy was the only one that should ever be watched. But I don't think you've actually come out on this issue. No. So, in your own words, which is the best Star Wars movie and why is it Revenge of the Sith?
Okay. Very interesting. I mean, I hate to really let you down, but I never even saw the second trilogy. I mean, I know. I didn't do it. I know. So I'm going to have to go with the first because that was, I was there. I saw that the original time it was in the theater. Well, but I will take you on On a related but different question, which is the best Willy Wonka and why is it the one with Gene Wilder?
Oh, Gene Wilder.
Hello?
You're a psychopath. That's
The one with Johnny Depp is creepy. Why did they even try that? Tim Burton shouldn't have touched Willy Wonka. That's obvious. And by the way, while we're on movie trivia, Rose should have just gotten on the boat, and then Leonardo DiCaprio could have had that piece of wood when they were floating in the water. She had a spot. Poor Jack froze to death in the Atlantic because she couldn't give up those extra 20 minutes with him. He would be alive. Maybe not today. For a nice long time, has she not been so selfish?
If only, if only. Well, thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for coming.
Hi, thank you so much for being here. This question was originally meant to be directed towards Charlie, so I guess I have to ask, do you pay attention to basketball?
Not at all. Well, Erica's going to be disappointed in me, too. She could answer this. Sports are not my thing.
I was going to ask, well, Charlie said the GOAT debate should have been between MJ versus Kobe, so I was going to ask why he thinks Kobe's better than LeBron.
Wait, better than LeBron or MJ?
He was, basically, he thinks the GOAT debate's between MJ and Kobe and not MJ and LeBron.
Yes.
So I wanted to ask
I agree
why he
with that.
thinks Kobe is better than LeBron.
Well, I don't know about that, but I can tell, for sure, Michael Jordan's the GOAT, right? Are we all in agreement? That I know a little bit about because I did live through that, and I was in Chicago when the Chicago Bulls were, that Magic team was there. I ran into Dennis Rodman at a bar right after he married himself. That happened. And there was no, it was truly like watching magic on the court. Those guys floated up and down. They didn't run. They weren't normal basketball players. That's as much as I can say. LeBron, I don't know anything about basketball other than he's annoying. And I'm sick of him giving me his opinion, which is completely boneheaded. He literally said that cops were hunting black men in the streets, which is A, untrue, and B, incredibly divisive and incendiary. Those are incendiary comments. So shame on him. I'm not his fan.
Okay, that's all I wanted to hear. Thank you.
I tried.
Yeah.
Who wins in a fight, a hokey bird or a cavalier?
What? Hokey bird? Hokey bird.
That's all I needed to know. Thank you.
Hi, can everyone hear me?
Yeah, they can hear you.
I want to know why you support a president who contributes to the rhetoric that got your friend Charlie killed. We saw his rally recently. He said, "I hate my enemies." Stephen Miller said similar things. How can you support him when he contributed to what got Charlie killed?
Assumes facts, not in evidence. What you said is not true.
70% of political violence is committed by Republicans.
Okay.
Look it up.
That's not
DOJ
true either.
just pulled it. The DOJ just pulled it from their website. DOJ just pulled the study from their website because they're delusional.
That's not true because
they just pulled it. Look it up.
Once you
the
pull
DOJ
the
pulled it from their website.
Once you pull the crazies out of there, it is overwhelmingly left-wing violence.
Google it.
We have had
every single person in the
understand.
audience. Google it right now.
You know, this is how we get here. So first of all, let me take on the first part of the premise of your question, that it was President Trump's rhetoric that led to an assassin killing our friend Charlie Kirk. That's a blatant lie. It's a defamatory blaspheme, and it's inappropriate in this setting.
That's not what I said.
We know. Yes, it is.
No, I said he contributed to the political atmosphere.
Well, then you have no point. Then your point is utterly empty. Contributing to the atmosphere. This guy was, no, let's just make clear. This guy was motivated by leftist ideology. We know it from the bullet casings. We know it from the Utah governor. We know it from his own mother. Yes, we do. Let's be really clear on that.
Even if that's true, so then you're saying because, let's say this guy's a leftist, even if that's true, does that make it okay for the sitting president of the United States to incite violence against liberals?
The President of the United States has not accepted violence against liberals. The President of the United States made a joke at the Charlie Kirk Memorial, which was funny and self-deprecating. It was on the heels of Erica Kirk saying she, in an extraordinary moment, forgave her husband's killer. And let me finish. And then President Trump got up and making a joke playing off of what Erica said. He said, we disagree. I need to do better. Erica's going to try to convince me, but I'm in a different place. And that's completely normal for a politician to be thinking about his political fights. And by the way, Trump has every right to loathe his enemies. They tried to put him in jail for the rest of his life. They tried to bankrupt him.
Rightfully so.
They tried to put
He's
his
a
family
criminal.
in jail.
He's a
And they
criminal.
tried to kill him.
Criminal. Jack
wait.
Smith.
Wait. Okay, now you go.
Thank you for your time.
No, it's fine. It's good. It's good to have some folks come up and disagree. Hi.
Try to follow that. I wanted to say thank you so much. I love that you embody your rhetoric. I mean, you talk to us about being brave and standing up and saying what you believe, and you've done that in the hardest of times, and it's cost you. And it's easy to say it, but when it costs you something, it means you really mean it. So I honor you for that. And someone stole my political question, so I was going to ask you a personal one, which is, what do you want to be remembered by, or as? What do you want people to say about you?
I mean, I think the number one thing I'd want them to say is that I was a great wife and great mother.
Awesome. Me
And
too.
I hope broadcaster comes third.
Thank you.
And it is something you have to nurture. You know, I'm a big believer in being a gunner and being a hard worker and out hustling your competitors in the office and elsewhere. But at the end of the day, you really do have to prioritize your family. And if that requires a downshift from time to time in your career, do it. Do it. Because the family and the rewards you get from having kids and having a strong marriage dwarf everything in the professional lane, even if the professional lane winds up good and great like it has for me. There's really no contest. So don't forget to nurture that piece of yourself, especially, and Charlie would want me to say this, and he was right, especially young women, because there is a clock, it does go tick-tock, and you don't have forever to find somebody to settle down with. It's not that, you know, you have to do it right away, but that whole virgin thing, that shouldn't stay on too long, because like at some point you're going to have to get down to business and start recreating fellow great humans. Hi, go ahead. Get some. Poor guy, he's got to follow that. Go ahead.
So there's a lot of videos and claims out there, like conspiracy theories, like Nick Fuentes talks about them a lot, about Israel. And some of them seem kind of true, but it's hard to find true information anywhere. Where would you find good, true,
Great
untainted
question.
information?
That is a great question. I'm sure you guys all have this experience, right? Like, what's real? You hear people who you respect, like, saying stuff that sounds like crazy. And you're like, did we land on the moon? Right? They can make you rethink anything. And it is an ongoing battle. It's going to be a really hard battle for all of you because you're young and you're going to have years of dealing with this. My advice to you is to find one or two people who you know you can trust. And you'll know those people because they will tell you the bad news for your side. They will not just keep whispering sweet nothings in your ear every day when you turn on their podcast or the news or what have you. And once you find those two people, stick with them. Don't trust a platform that has an agenda that's got corporate backers. You know, when I was at Fox, I did not realize that we were funded by Pfizer. But we were. There was a reason we weren't allowed to say certain things on the air. You tried to talk about what was causing autism and whether it was a vaccine back in 2005 at Fox News. It was not going to happen. So I would recommend choosing someone from the independent lane. Of course, I'm biased, but I submit to you I'm an option for you. Ben Shapiro's another great option for you. There's a bunch of us in this lane who you can trust. And then stick with those people who don't get too out there, unless that's just your jam for fun. But I will say, once you sort of let those earworms get in there, it can kind of corrupt your thinking. So choose people who are super factual.
Thank you. Jesus is Lord.
Amen.
Hi, my name is Dylan. It's nice to meet you.
Hi, Dylan.
I wanted to start by offering my condolences. I don't think anybody's father or husband should be killed like that.
Sorry, I couldn't. Can you speak louder? Closer to the mic, yeah.
I wanted to offer my condolences. I don't think anybody's father or husband should be killed like that, or killed at all, which is what informs the rest of my question. It's kind of a lot of words. I hope that's all right.
Yeah.
It has been credibly reported that 83% of the people Israel has killed in Palestine are citizens, not terrorists. 2 migrants were shot by a sniper and killed recently in an ICE facility. 32 people were killed by a gunman at Virginia Tech, the most of any school shooting in American history. All you guys offer are thoughts and prayers. Charlie Kirk had more than that to offer, actually, which was the idea that some gun deaths are necessary in order to maintain our Second Amendment right. So my question is, which of those deaths were the necessary ones? The tens of thousands of Palestinian babies, the 32 students and professors at Virginia Tech, or the late Charlie Kirk? And do you still believe that thoughts and prayers can stop bullets?
Well, you're asking me to defend words I didn't say, which I'm not prepared to do, but I'm perfectly happy to discuss violence in America with you. And I would say to you that, first of all, I'm not sure where you got your stats on Israel, but most of those come out of the Palestinian ministry, which you cannot trust. They lie, and they're propaganda experts.
I'm getting those numbers from The Guardian.
Sorry?
I'm getting those numbers from The Guardian.
Yeah, same difference. The Guardian. So yeah, I sympathize with you because it is very hard to get actual data on what the numbers are out of Israel and Palestine. I mean, I think you're struggling with the same thing I struggle with, because I am not a shill for Israel at all. I've been very defensive of American Jews on campuses. What's been happening to them is disgusting, and I will defend them to the death. But what Israel does in this war, I don't have to defend Israel. They are an important ally of ours, and I would love for them to end this war so that we can stay supportive of Israel, but it's gone on too long, as I said. The civilian deaths is problematic, but in any war, there are massive civilian deaths. And if we went back and we looked at those civilian deaths in World War II, we'd be horrified at the numbers. So, I mean, those are just hard truisms. Now, on the gun violence here in America, it's not just thoughts and prayers. That's not true. Conservatives, look, and I'm a great person to talk to you about this because I am not a big Second Amendment person. Like, I believe in the Second Amendment, but I'm not somebody like my friend Dana Lash, who could, go chapter and verse for you on the guns. I've had my own frustrations on states that won't pass strong, like red flag laws and so on. But having said that, we could take away all the guns in the country, all of them, and killers still want to kill. But on the first premise, we cannot actually take away all the guns in the country because you know how many there are?
A lot.
Over 400 million guns. There are more guns in America than there are people. And the vast majority of those, over 300 million, are semi-automatic pistols. So the kind that can kill you very quickly, and I'm sorry to say, you mentioned Virginia Tech, the kind that was used right here at Virginia Tech, where I came after that terrible shooter killed so many of the students on this campus. So it wasn't an AR-15, it wasn't a machine gun, it was a semi-automatic pistol, and not even the Democrats' plan to ban assault weapons would get semi-automatic pistols in it. So just realistically speaking to you as somebody who would like, I think, to see an assault weapons ban or something done about guns, they're just not going to do it. Even if we pass with the Democrats' dream, it's not going to encapsulate, it's not going to get 300 million of those guns. So we have to talk about what the other solutions are, and I think Republicans have two, which makes sense to me. One is to fortify the soft targets so you guys don't have to go to school worrying about this stuff. You guys need armed guards on your campus to protect you. God forbid something were to happen. This school of all schools understands that risk. And secondly, and schools like K through 12 schools, which are just sitting ducks. That's why these terrible people choose them, because they know teachers aren't armed, students aren't armed, and usually there isn't an armed guard. But secondly, we really need, desperately need, mental health care facilities to which loving parents would voluntarily commit their children if they need it. And we don't have it right now. We don't have it. There's one facility in Michigan called Nemours, which is not terrible. But time after time we've seen with these mass shooters, their mom knew or their dad knew in advance, but didn't know what to do with them. The therapists, they won't take somebody who's a psychopath. You can't be therapized out of psychopathy. Or a sociopath. He's killing the family hamster, he's torturing the cat. They won't take them. These parents don't have the skills to deal with it, so they have to wait for them to get caught up in the criminal justice system, which most parents don't want because that means jail. Well, at least it used to be in this country, if they went to jail, 30% of the jails would offer mental health services. No more. So now they go to jail, the mental health services are gone, and by the way, usually now because of the leftist policies, they're not really going to jail. They're going through a revolving door right back onto the street where they're killing their fellow Americans. So we need a facility, a loving but secure facility to which loving parents would commit their own child.
Thank you for your time.
So I got to be honest, when I first got into this line, I was, heart was pumping, I was getting a little bit nervous, but seeing the way that you were treating everyone with kindness and respect, that really settled me down. So I'd like to, first of all, thank you for that.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much.
So my question stems from my experience in high school. I'm currently a senior in high school, and me and one of my friends are currently working to create a chapter. And my question...
Right on, yes. And what grade?
Sorry?
What grade?
I'm a 12th grader. I'm a senior.
Awesome. He's going to start a TPUSA chapter at his school, 12th grade.
So my question for you is, knowing the very polarized and volatile times that we're in right now, and knowing the condition that my school is in, being very split, far left or far right, how can I remain a mutualistic respect between the two? That way we don't have really screaming matches and more of, very respectful, kind, civil discourses and debates.
Well, I think you're already halfway there because you sound like you're approaching it with a pure heart, and I think that'll come through in the way you talk to people. I think people can glean whether you are somebody who's respectful of the other side, even if you disagree. But make no mistake, being kind to the other side doesn't mean sacrificing 1 inch of your principles.
Of course.
So you need to study up, you need to know what you actually stand for, and you need to be able to defend it. And you should do that unapologetically. You should do that boldly and with confidence, without a sheepish posture as if you have something to feel bad about. You don't. There are a lot of dicey issues that are in the societal conversation right now, but if you discuss them boldly and with confidence, people will see that you're earnest. And you should, as I always did when I was a lawyer, if you really want to win an argument or persuade somebody of what you're saying, the very first thing you need to do is study the other side's arguments. Okay. Don't go into rhetorical battle without knowing what they're going to say against you. And then be ready for those points and show them that this is not a pastime for you. This is something you're really committed to. Don't be on your phone doing games after school. Be online doing research on these issues. Go to PragerU. They've got tons of educational videos. Go to Hillsdale College online. They've got tons of great information for you. But you can arm yourself with information so that when you do rhetorical battle, you're ready.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much.
You bet.
This will be the last question.
Okay. I'm sorry to those of you who didn't get your questions answered. Hi.
Hi, Megyn. Thank you so much for being here. My name is Emma Dayton. I'm a student at Liberty University.
Right on. Yeah, Liberty.
Yes, we actually care about the First Amendment and everything in our government. I wanted to end on a faith note, which is probably something Charlie would have wanted. We're seeing revival all across this country. I've never seen anything like it before. And we saw so many people in church the first Sunday after Charlie was assassinated, which is amazing. And I wanted to know your thoughts on what you think pastors should have said to their congregation that Sunday. I know a lot of Christians may have left disappointed knowing their pastors didn't say anything, or maybe they didn't really address it. So what would you have had pastors say to their congregation, and then maybe how can churches go forward in light of that?
Yeah, thank you for that. I think if your pastor didn't say anything about Charlie Kirk on the Sunday after he was killed, you need to find a new church. I think that's a sickness. Who could Christians find that was better than Charlie as an evangelist for their beliefs, both faith-based and political? Most Christian conservatives lean right, and most understood that Charlie was talking about the gospel in a way that was inspirational, even if they didn't share his politics, and would like to hear him more on the faith-based issues. And so I don't understand that there could be a pastor in America who wouldn't at least embrace that side of Charlie and take a moment to pay their respects to him. I think it's disrespectful to him and to the millions of people around the world who felt inspired by him and feel inspired by him right now. So I think shame on them. Find a new church. Once again, back to my original point, in a way that's cancel culture. It's you canceling them or them canceling themselves right out of your life. That should not be your faith leader. Listen, you guys, that's it. I apologize to the people who didn't get their questions asked, but send me an email, Megyn@megynkelly.com, and I will try to answer them all. And I'm so grateful to you. You're very brave. You're very courageous. Keep saying yes. Lots of love. Have a great night.